The biggest esports organization in Denmark, Astralis, is close to filing for bankruptcy, and it's not a secret. It's reported by HLTV.org and Richard Lewis that the organization was already looking for a potential buyer in December 2024. And now with the organization missing out on their 5th consecutive major, it's crunch time. What will happen to Astralis? My name is Burt Burlington. I love talking about Counter-Strike, and if you do too, please consider liking, subscribing, and commenting down below your thoughts about this video. But first off, let's get into the video. So, first off, will Astralis go bankrupt unless they find a buyer, or are we all exaggerating? Well, Richard Lewis reported on his Substack, get it if you can afford it, it's great content. He reported that Astralis was already looking to sell in December 2024, and since then they failed to qualify for another 2 consecutive majors, which, if my calculations are correct, check this past videos out, they will have a net loss in sticker money alone of $5 million. And add to it the insane expensive duo of Stabby, Stown and Yabby for $2 million. And it makes sense that Hooksy is then a short-term deal as reported, and also that they are not looking to make any expensive signings anymore. They're done with it all. They're klaar. I think that's Danish. I'm not sure. So the strategy of the company is now sell it or... So how much is Astralis actually worth? Just2DK reported that they are looking for a sale price between $2 and $3 million, which I think is crazy low. I mean, how did an organization that won 4 majors in Counter-Strike and were there on all the partner leagues and all the blast leagues and whatever, and then in 5 years are nowhere and are looking to sell? I know I talk a lot about mismanagement, so check it out, but like Astralis, Casper Strauber, Casper Viet, Nicola Nyholm, they are the 3 musketeers of mismanagement. I want to talk about like all the mismanagement that Astralis have done over the years, but that's kind of a big video and I'm just gonna wait until they get sold or just go bankrupt, so be hyped for that one. Let's calculate what you get for that $2 or $3 million. And are the players factored into this price? I hope not, but it seems like it is. How much would this roster even be worth? Let's look at the individual players. Device was sold in 2019 for 600k to NIP and then later got sold back to Astralis for 600k. But that's like 4 or 5 years ago. So is he still worth that money? I don't think so. He's close to hitting 30 and he also has this stress-related illness that prevents him from going to the biggest events in the world, like how he missed out on the Perfect World Major, which I think was the reason why they missed out on their 4th consecutive sticker money haul. He's still great. I think if you say he got sold for 400k, I wouldn't bat an eye. But I don't know how many teams would be down to spending that because of the stress-related issues. Also, his contract is running out in December 2026. So if Astralis is gonna close up shop like Cloud9 did, where they just, put everybody on the bench, then Device will be on the bench for a year like Perfecto did, and that's the death of great players. Look at Kenny S, look at Simple. So that could get ugly. Stare. Genuinely one of the most promising players in Denmark right now. He's young, he's talented, he's a workhorse, he seems to have no drama around him, and he's just solid in the server. Even in a team that's completely discombobulated, he still frags. I see him as a Messi type player. He's not the star, but he's not supposed to be. I think he's like the 3rd to 4th best player in your team, and then if you do have that, you will be winning tournaments, let me tell you that. I would see a team paying 200k to 300k for him. Problem again is that Stare recently signed a contract until 2027, which he is particularly unhappy about because he wasn't aware of the financial situation at Astralis. And then I think, why did Astralis sign such a long contract when they knew their finances weren't great? And then I remembered, Astralis just has a habit of fucking players over, like Casper, Glaive, Device, Blame F, Bro, Buzz, just, Bubsky. So it makes sense. And then we have the Stabby brothers, who were sold for $2 million. Oof! I honestly don't think they're even worth 25% of that money. Stown or Steven, whatever you want, has been the talk of the town of how low his level has been these past few years. And the same goes for Yabby, but he has been an average tier 1 player. But with the negative stigma around them and, the backstabbing and the problems they bring in teams, apparently, I don't know how many orcs are down to pick them up. So the players are still worth over $1 million, but that's if you sold them separately. Now with the VRS system, the players still hold a place in the VRS rankings, which can give them invites to big tournaments, S-tier tournaments, tier 1 tournaments, anything. And if we look at the Heroic Core, who got sold to Team Falcons for 6 to 8 million, it shows that you can still make a pretty penny if you sell the core. Big asterisk though. Heroic were a top 8 team and Falcons have a lot of money. Astralis are top 15 now. They're still in line for S-tier tournament invites, but not majors, no shoe-ins. So it's a little bit dicey, but we'll see how they do at PGL Astana, where they are close to qualifying for the playoffs as I speak. Then you have real estate, Astralis Nexus, or how the Danish describe it, that Vedeste Gaming och Event Center in Copenhagen. A gaming and an event center in the middle of Copenhagen, right outside of the famous amusement park Tivoli. This is prime real estate. Copenhagen is one of the most expensive places to live in Europe, where a square meter will cost you between 5,000 to 7,000 euros. Question is, do they own it or are they renting it? And if they're renting it, how long will the contract last? Well, because like if you buy the company, you have to buy their debts and you have to buy their contract. So you will have to pay the rent for the foreseeable future. And if they own it, that will be easily another million in real estate alone. Like this is prime real estate, people. But in a sales presentation leaked by Aurora's founder, Larich, they didn't state anything about real estate. The question is this sale presentation real? First off, the presentation looks awful. I have made better sales pitches and presentations, and I still failed for them. So I don't know how they are trying to get millions for this with this presentation. Secondly, it lists Device as 28-year-old, but he is 29 now, so it's probably older. And Cadian only joined after Device has turned 29, so Cadian has never played with Device being 28, so this can't be correct. Is it just an innocent error? Well, it clearly is, but like, is it from the people who are faking this, or is it from the organization? I don't know. So it's hard to say if this presentation is correct. There's some truth in it, but there's also some small errors, and it looks like dog shit. But hey, that's fitting with Astralis. Besides real estate in the official lineup, they also had a Astralis women lineup, but they cut that in December 2024, probably as a cost-saving measure, and they did the same with Astralis talent branch, also most likely as a cost-saving measure. If you can remember, Astralis actually had a team and a slot in the LAC in League of Legends in the form of Origin. They sold the spot for 66% or something to Carmine Corp for $18 million. But they haven't received all of the money yet because they have a payment plan until 2031 with the organization. So if you buy the company, you are buying the money that you're supposed to get later on, right? That's another stipend you have to add to the 2.3 million. And then back to that 2.3 million, I think it's outrageously low. Either it means the shareholders are sick of it and they just want to get it rid of, and they're like, yeah, just get anything, just like, you know, we're done with it. It's not gonna make us any money. It's gonna bleed us more than we're gonna make out of it. So let's just, you know, cut the arm off right now as we can. Or it's a sales tactic where they try and lowball just to lure in as many buyers as possible and try and incite a bidding war. So with all the info, now we will look at what will happen to Astralis. There are multiple options. Some are good, some are bad, some are just the worst, and some are pretty funny. So I listed them all and we're gonna go through them one by one. Alright? So starting with what is the best that can happen for Astralis, the fans, and the Danish CS scene. The best, a Danish org, but possibly a Scandinavian or even an American org, buys Astralis and kicks out all the old management. They should lower the salaries and create incentives and create performance bonuses for winning tournaments, qualifying for playoffs, qualifying for majors for once. I think that's the way to go, just to keep everybody hungry, and also it's a little bit more cost effective and only good players will be rewarded with more money. Astralis becomes a normal org, focus on Danish CS, lower the salaries and lower the expectations that way. It will not make the same mistakes as the old management and will also not destabilize this Danish CS scene. I genuinely see that as the best for Astralis and the Danish CS community. The ugly option. This can go two ways. Either Astralis downsides drastically, keep in the old management and will no longer be a big game player in the CS world. They will just be on a lifeline. Or they completely dissolve and semi-close up shop. And in both cases, Device and Stare will be in contract jail until 2027. And maybe maybe one day someone picks up the Astralis tag, just like the Immortals Gaming Club did with the MIBR tag, and start a new Astralis that is virtually unrecognizable from the original one, and therefore will just never be the same. The funniest. Heroic buys Astralis. After getting their players hijacked, their coach poached, their manager poached, continuously scrutinized with, being tried to push out of the Danish CS scene, it's finally time for a heroic revenge. Heroic can now, with the two big cells of the Heroic Core, 2 Falcons and the stabby duo of 2 million, and buy their rival Astralis, their players, their name and employees. And fire everybody. And I don't think it's a bad idea. Heroic will be the team in Denmark. Something they have been trying to be for almost a decade now. And I don't think it's bad for the scene. Heroic are not at all toxic to the Danish CS scene as Astralis were, and can actually be a rightful champion for Danish CS. So, I'm here for it. And it's funny. The worst. A Saudi Arabian company or investment group or Qatari investment group buys the organization and keeps most of the management the same. They can keep fucking up the Danish CS scene and inflate prices and also affect on the bigger, wider scale of things, but this time with more money. And the worst one seems the most likely. HLTV.org reported that the most likely buyer is Jonas Kalk Gunderson, the ex-COO of NIP, who is now representing the Arabian investment group in the form of Continuum X. Not only am I displeased that another Saudi Arabian organization will buy their way into Counter-Strike, but also that it's championed by this fucking clown. It's my apologies. Not for that comment, but I mean that I haven't made a video about this guy yet, and for all the mistakes that NIP has made over the years, which he was a big part of. Ex-NIP players like Hampus and Nog are very displeased with him. Like, for example, how he would help money from Nog for the sticker money in the RMR 2020 sticker capsules. So, here's my prediction, what I think will happen to the Astralis organization. So, my prediction is that the worst is exactly what's gonna happen. Sadly, if we have to believe HLTV.org's Striker, there are no companies interested in buying Astralis inside Denmark. And the frontrunners are Jonas Gunderson's Continuum X, who have infinite amount of money, who are headquartered sort of in Copenhagen, and Astralis is the org that just is the Danish market. It's a no-brainer for them to buy it, in my opinion. The question is though, will the shareholders sell the company to an Arabian organization? Because the shareholders have a say in who they sell it to. Well, surprisingly enough, Astralis have yet to take some serious money from Saudi Arabian orgs, because some of the shareholders have continually stated that they don't want to take money straight from Saudi Arabia. For example, they don't take any of the stipend that the Esports World Cup is providing, because they believe it's not the right thing to do, which a lot of teams can't say. Will the morals of the Astralis shareholders win again, or will they finally cut their losses and finally sell the disappointment that is Astralis? I fear they will. My name is Burt Burlington. I love talking about Counter-Strike, and if you do too, please consider liking, subscribing, and commenting down below. Let me know what you think. Do you think Astralis will be sold? Maybe it's not as bad. Maybe they're not going bankrupt. What do you think? Have you got some details or something? I don't know. Also, consider joining the Burlington Picture Discord server, where we talk CS non-stop. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.